Hello, everyone. This is Elaine Jackson from Holistic Project Management Consulting. We are here today with a special guest. We're running a special session to get you exposed to a really important project manager. We're talking about Andrea Pratt-Smith. How did I meet her? And in my business, I'm always running promotions. I'm always running events to meet people. And to do that, what I've done is I ran a information about my connections with the Rita Mulcahy's camp as a training provider, an authorized training provider. And Andrea raised her hand and said, yes, she would answer questions related to what's going on in the project management industry. It is so important to stay on the cutting edge of what's going on, how to provide for our clients exactly what they need so them when they can get great jobs, so they can hold on to their job, so they can get respect in the job where they are right now, and also how to get raises and meet your requirements for your family. I mean, the bottom line, none of us, I believe if all of us were totally rich and everything we had, we needed, we wouldn't be working so hard. So let's try to work smarter. So what I would like to do is invite Andrea Pratt-Smith to the platform. And Andrea, welcome. And what I'm going to do is a view. I think I'm going to do Valerie group speaker view. Yeah, I'll do speaker view so that this way we can keep you in the highlight. Welcome, Andrea. How are you today?
I'm good, Elaine. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So tell us a little bit about, I have some few little questions that people will want to know about you, other than the fact that you're in the Caribbean where it's always summer. That is very attractive to me. But what are some of the reasons that you believe that project managers are going after certifications?
Well, I can't speak for the whole body of project managers, but I can let you know why I am passionate about continuous learning, not really just obtaining certifications, because I always tell persons, I have a lot of certifications, so I can put a whole alphabet behind my name, but I decided not to display my certifications, not that I'm not proud of them, but because I feel as though it's better to show you that I'm knowledgeable about the subject matter versus trying to show you that I have some credentials. And for me, I'm a continuous learner. I love to learn. And it's important as project managers to always be learning because technology and the field that we're in, it changes so quickly. And we deal with complex projects that we need to be on top of the cutting edge and we need to know exactly how technology and the industry is changing. And that's why we have to continuously learn.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I totally agree with you. I'm also an avid learner. I also say to myself, and I know this is probably not a good credit to me, but that I'm a shiny object person. Anytime somebody puts a new training, I'm like, oh my God, I want to do that. It's like I want to get 20 PhDs all at the same time. And I'm like, my family is like, when are you going to stop? Enough already.
My family asked me the same thing, but I actually set a goal that I attain at least 2 to 3 certifications every year.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. So those of you who are sitting out there saying and listening to this recording and you're saying, "Oh, I'm so afraid of certifications," the bottom line is lean into it. You really, once you achieve the certification you fear most, you're actually going to cry and say, "Oh my God, I could have gone to medical school. I could have gone to P and get it and go to law school." You're going to realize that the potential you had. So Andrea, one of the things that we talked about when we did the initial interview, from this, talking about what's new in project management, a lot of the project managers are talking about technology, that project managers now need more tech skills in order to be valuable on projects. Some people are actually even saying that project managers are being used as secretaries, and that's really an insult considering how much we've gone through to get where we are. Can you talk a little bit about that? That what's driving that kind of mentality that, downplaying some project managers, but then saying we need to go from a secretarial kind of role to now we got to be tech experts.
No, well, I could understand why some persons would try to identify or consider a project manager a secretary because we deal with a lot of administrative tasks. We manage a project, we deal with communications, we organize meetings, we facilitate meetings, we deal with writing documents. So you have a bit of secretarial or administrative element in your role. But as far as technology goes, you have to learn the technology of the project that you're working on. And point in case for me, I just started working with a client on a project a year ago. And when I started with this client, the technology and the tools that they were using, I was not familiar with. So I had to learn four new tools that were foreign to me in a matter of months. And now I'm training and onboarding the new persons who joined the project team how to use these tools. So it goes back to the first question about continuous learning. We have innate skill sets as project managers. We know how to be organized. We know how to manage budgets. We know how to get the team meetings and everything functioning. But you have to stay on top of technology, and the technology changes based on whatever project you're working on, and you have to stay on the cutting edge.
That is so true. That is so true. And so my background is actually in the sciences. I have a degree in biology and then changed over working for Fortune 500 company and just sort of gravitated into tech, but I was always into the area of doing project management. So tell me a little bit about, I know I have heroes in project management, but tell me about your people that you know of that maybe will recognize their names and people that inspired you, heroes or sheroes, however you want to call them.
Well, I've met so many great persons in the project management and the agile space. I don't necessarily emulate anyone entirely. I just take whatever I need from that person and I apply it to my life. So you have a lot of agile coaches, you have project managers, you have persons in different spheres of learning that I just get what I need from them. And vice versa, we collaborate and they try to um help me with whatever goals I'm trying to accomplish in my personal and professional lives, and I lean on them. So I have a few mentors and I have a few persons who I look to as proteges and persons who I've seen them climb the ladder and the steps that they've taken, and I'm just navigating their journey and seeing how I could modify that to help me get to where I want to be on my journey.
You're right. And and if you want to achieve goals, you have to set them early. You have to be persistent. And sometimes in teaching, because I teach project management programs as well as sustainability programs, I find that they want the success, but they're not willing to flex the muscles. They're not willing to flex the muscles. And I'm noticing that there are people that are always on the cutting edge. I mean, I've watched you, I just met you recently, and I'm like, wow. And it's nice when you see someone's profile and you just see it packed with such great information, pure approaches to moving the career forward. And I think that it's important as project managers to follow and emulate people like yourself. So I'm going to put you on the list of one of my sheroes.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Elaine. But one of the things I must say is that, I tout my success not about the money that I'm making, but more about the people that I'm helping, because I'm very passionate about youth empowerment, women empowerment, and volunteerism. And I seek out projects that are nonprofit based, and just so I can have an opportunity to not just excel but to give back. So that's really what I'm passionate about.
Excellent. I love that give back process. I don't know how reciprocity really works, because when it doesn't work, that's when I say, why is it not working? Why does that person not feel that they should give back? And I think sometimes people have been in hurtful situations and it's hard to give when you have been hurt. And I think that that may be an area that project managers should be looking at, is how to clear up the hurts from
Well,
the past.
one thing that we study as project managers is emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
And I've been trying my endeavor best to make sure that my EQ is very high and I'm very sensitive towards people's and their feelings and their needs. And when you give, if you give and you don't have an ulterior motive or you're not looking for anything in return, you can't get hurt because you weren't expecting anything. If you give freely,
Yes.
It's like I
So,
don't feel as though somebody owes me anything when I decide to give of myself. Like you're not obligated to return anything to me because I chose to give it to you. So it's only when we looking for something back in return that when our expectation is not met, that
mhm.
we have hurt feelings. So that's how I look at it.
Whoa, that is big. That is a huge takeaway. If if anyone listening didn't get anything else yet, that is huge to give from your heart. And sometimes people don't feel that. You give them something, they feel, what do you want from me? And I think it's important to just be consistent in your approach and maybe give and walk away, not stay in that space so the person can then decide to move forward. Let's look at some of the other things. We have some great topics for the next 20 minutes to talk about, and I'd love to make sure I get to them. So what do you feel, based on what we talked about, what do you feel is the major challenge that project managers are having today in the workspace?
Well, I think the major challenge for many project managers is moving from the traditional way of project management, the command and control type of working, into the collaborative, agile way of working, where we focus more on building trust with our team members and not necessarily delegating work,
Mhm.
because you're not supposed to manage people. You're supposed to manage work. And so that's the difference in the way that I approach project management today and the way that I see traditional project managers look at how they work with their teams. We focus on outcomes, and people are not assets. People are your team members, and you're supposed to be sensitive to their needs and whatever they're able to produce, and not just watch the clock. So that's the difference for me.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for that input, being more collaborative. And that could be the reason why some companies are actually hiring individuals in roles that they see that they have good people skills, but maybe not the project management skills. So they're probably opting to say, let's flatten that out. Let's go for the people, get the relationships, and then we can then add on the technical training afterwards. That's awesome. So what do you feel is the percent of tech that is needed to be part of today's projects? If someone hasn't had tech, like myself, coding and doing Python and all of that, what percent of tech do you feel people need? Because I'm seeing people with tech still not getting jobs. So I'm wondering what's happening there.
No, like it goes back to my original point that you have to have the skill sets that is required for the type of project that you're working on. Like I'm working on a highly technical project right now with a project team, and I'm not the most technical person on that team, but I rely on my team being cross-functional and self-managing. And so everybody doesn't have to have that same skill level. I don't have to know how to program and code and do all these kind of things because I rely on my team members and the subject matter experts that we hire to assist the team with making sure that whatever we're building is up to par and is what the market wants, and we're doing all of our research to make sure that we produce the best product. But it doesn't become the responsibility of the project manager to be so technical. It helps you to know some of the technical aspects, but to say, well, you have to be certified in all these different programming and coding languages, I don't agree with that, because you have so much different areas that you can prove yourself to be an asset to the team. And
Mhm.
you bring your skill sets as the project manager. It's not your job to be the developer and the coder and the quality assurance person. So you can stay in your lane, but like myself, I'm a person who I want to know a little bit more. I don't want to just know what the project manager does. I want to be cross-functional as an individual first and foremost, and then make sure that my team members are cross-functional.
I think that's important, but I also believe that management needs to realize there's only so much you can get out of one human being. And some of the project managers that come to me for, or even technical individuals come to me for training, they come and they say, I'm so burnt out. I hardly get any sleep. I'm having serious medical problems. I'm not sure how to handle this. And some of them actually just quite quitting. I've actually seen individuals take a job offer and they take 3 job offers at the same time, trying to see which one is going to be the better one, which I
Yeah.
think is a little unethical because a company's depending on you. You signed that agreement.
Well, see, that goes back to what we said before, emotional intelligence and being able to build that trust with your team. Because I would never want to be working with anybody who's on my team and they feel as though they're burnout and they can't have a conversation with me and I'm not sensitive to their needs. Because persons have not only professional issues, they have personal issues and it affects your professional life. And, I'm very sensitive to work-life balance, but
Mhm.
also person's mental health. And that's something that I'm really studying, not only for myself to make sure that I'm at my optimal best, but to ensure that when I see signs in my team members, if they're not producing at the level I'm expecting them to, or they're not speaking in meetings, or they're lashing out at another team member, these are signs and signals that something is not right, and maybe it's time for us to take this conversation offline and have a one-on-one and ask that person what's going on. And then you can modify your project schedule to compensate this person for their time, especially if they're an asset to your team and they're producing quality work and they're just having a moment where they need some time to recalibrate, refresh themselves and then come back a better person. But
Mhm.
it goes back to project managers thinking of people as an asset and someone that's replaceable. If you put your time and best effort into building somebody and helping them to be a part of your team and building that trust and building that relationship, then they will always be an asset. Then they're not just something you could replace and once they're down and burn out or hire somebody else. That's not how emotional intelligence and that's not how I work with my project team. I want them to work at their best, and so we have that continuous dialogue. 90% of the time, project managers are conversating. And we need to start conversating more about the mental health of our team members to ensure that we're not being the problem, that we're helping them to solve the problem.
That is so true. And that comes down to principles from when we study project management is the project manager is supposed to protect their team, advocate for their team, and not kowtow to whatever management wants because they say they want it. We are humans and we have to make sure that we can perform well. What is your attitude towards mentoring others?
Well, my attitude towards mentoring others is I am all on board. I'm actually a mentor for a young man who is in school right now in the UK, but he's a Nigerian he's of Nigerian descent, and I'm mentoring him, and we have conversations about his career and what's going on with him in schooling. And then also, I'm an advisory board member for FemSTEM Bahamas, which is a program that assists young ladies to develop their skill sets in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And I work very closely with that program and mentoring those young ladies so that they could develop their careers. And even though it's not specifically project management based, the technology aspect is something that I can relate to, and the mathematics, because we deal with budgets and schedules and all that kind of stuff. So it helps them to know more about my career path, and they can see themselves or look at me as a role model and say, well, if she can do it and this is her career path and this is the choices that she's making, and she's making a difference, and maybe I want to pursue this career. So I'm an advocate for mentoring. I think it's very important in developing our young people.
And those listening, please take notes because Andrea is living the life of how you should be as a project manager, not only doing your job, doing your family, but being a role model and being able to show others, hey, you don't necessarily have to do what I do, but take what I do and fit it to something you want to do for your life. So, one of the last questions I wanted to ask you about is there are a lot of people that want to speak in public, but not everybody should speak in public, right? Not everybody has the what it takes to stand on the stage and engage people. I've had many years of coaching individuals and I also do keynote speaking. And I know that that is something that you also do. So tell me a little bit about how, if you can tell or share in a general way, how do you go about getting good companies that want you to speak. And they appreciate the value that you bring when you get on that stage.
Well, I just started my speaking journey probably about a year now, not even a year, less than a year. And I don't seek out corporations to pay me to be a paid speaker. I offer my speaking for free at different agile meetups or project management groups. And I just speak about, what I know as a subject matter expert. I speak about my experience with working on projects. I speak about my experience with working with project teams. And I also speak about my entrepreneurial journey being a business owner, and how I'm working with international teams and working on these innovative, one-of-a-kind projects that are very complex, but very rewarding because it allows me to be an innovator and a creative. So I just share my knowledge about my experience, my journey, and I attend a lot of meetup groups. And sometimes they at the end of the meetup they say, we're looking for speakers, and I would send them an email and say, well, I'm interested in speaking, and they said, okay, well, let's get you on the schedule. So basically, that's how I'm building my journey as an international speaker. And I've spoken. My first speaking appearance was actually at the Agile Nigeria meetup last year, October, where I spoke about Kanban or Scrum. And I told them how I had just finished becoming my training, to become a professional Kanban trainer, and how I'm also an advanced Scrum Master, and how I look at Scrum and Kanban as not competing, but actually complementary. So that was an interesting presentation, my first one international. And actually tonight I'm speaking at Agile Kansas City meetup. And then I have a few more things on the agenda, but I just make myself available. And if it happens to be something that they want to give me an honorarium for, then that's fine. But I don't necessarily go out and say, this is my speaking cost, and you have to give me this or I won't attend. Or the thing about it is, it happens through networking and having a genuine interest in helping other organizations to spread the message of project management, agility, leadership, all those different topics. And that's how I find my speakers for the Bahamas Agile and Project Management community, which I'm the founder of. I go and source speakers to speak at our community. So while I'm out there attending the meetup, they said, okay, well, do you guys need a speaker? I'm available and I need a speaker. So who do you have from your team who can come over and speak to us in the Bahamas? So it's networking and just collaborating.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So I guess the first thing they'll have to do is get over the fear of public speaking, and then and then take on some of your techniques. This is awesome. And that reciprocity ties in with what you just talked about. So in wrapping up, how can we follow you? How can we engage with you? What's new? I mean, you have so much. You could be here for hours telling us all the stuff you've done. And I so much appreciate you and your time. So tell us how we can get in touch with you and how we can follow up and collaborate with you.
Well, the best way to follow me is through LinkedIn, Andrea Pratt-Smith. And once you search my name, I'm sure I'm going to come up. If that doesn't work, then search Bahamas. It'll come up that way too. And once you connect with me, I will accept that invitation to connect, and we can see how best we can collaborate together. I'm offering Kanban. My next Kanban training is in October. So if you're interested in taking that class, that's on my LinkedIn profile as well. And I'm also available for speaking engagements. If you need someone to speak at your meetup group, or you have a conference coming up and you need a speaker, I'm available once it doesn't conflict with anything on my schedule. And that's about it. You follow me on creativemindsprojects.com. That's my website. I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, and my daughter just signed me up for TikTok.
That's going to be great. That's going to be great. Andrea Smith, thank you so much for being here, being part of this special event, being part of my community. You're such an asset to the project management profession. Thank you again for everything. Thank you for being here.
Thank you too, Miss Elaine. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll see you soon. Okay. Bye.
Take care. Bye.